You know, it has been 13 years since my brother DJ died, and yesterday was his passing anniversary. I also lost my other brother Jerry, but I lost him like a couple years later. And you know, I had some time to reflect. You know, I'm 30 now, turning 31. Last time I spoke to my brother, I was 17. And throughout all these years, I've learned so much. And although it sounds weird or seems weird that I'm smiling, I've learned a lot. Ironically enough, in their death, I can appreciate not only who they were, but sorry, I realized this is also going to be low-key difficult for me. But I could also appreciate the memories that I had with them. However, some of the things that I've learned as an adult, or just, you know, going through life, I find them to be very, very important, right? So without speaking too much about me personally, I want to share 5 life lessons I've learned from the passing of both my brothers with you. Now, stay tuned for the end because I've got some more for you towards the end of the video, but I want to start off with some of the most important things that I've realized with my brother's passing, but it's a little noisy over here. We're by the beach, obviously, if you can't tell. So let's move around and find another spot, shall we? All right, so the first thing I learned about my brother's passing is that genuinely, no one cares. And I mean that. And this isn't a negative, at least to me. And I'd also like to add that you might lose friends at this time, which I wouldn't think is necessarily a big deal, but during this transition, if you're going through a difficult time, this is where you really find who your friends are. And the unfortunate part is, in the grand scheme of things, you might have spent a lot of time with these people. You might have obviously gotten to know their families, become a part of the family per se. But unfortunately, at some point, you know, people tend to leave you, which again, it's not a big deal. And I wanna prove that it's not a big deal with a painting, if that makes any sense. So I don't know if you guys know who Icarus is. I forgot his father's name, but Icarus is the boy within a Greek mythology story of him trying to fly too close to the sun, or he was flying close to the sun. Sorry, I'm not a Greek mythologist. However, that is like the point of it, right? That's the crux of it all. And it's funny because there's a painting, of whom I don't know who the painter is, but the painting shows Icarus and his father flying so close to the sun. Obviously the wings start to melt. We all know this story. If you don't, go look it up. And they start falling towards the ocean. Now, anyone would think, or like if you're thinking to yourself, one would assume that'd probably be like eye-catching for some people, right? Like if everyone is kind of like outside just doing their own thing, and here you are watching 2 people fall from the sky, you're gonna stop and take a look. However, within this painting, we see an illustration of so many individuals doing so many different things. There are people farming, there are people in the markets, there are people with their families, there are people with their animals, there are people tending to the ox. There's so many different things going on in this painting. Icarus and his father falling into the ocean is literally the last of everyone's worries. And I appreciate that painting because it illustrates just how complex life really is. Not only is it complex, it also shows how we may think that some people genuinely don't care about us, but there are just so many things going on in their life that truthfully they just don't have the mental capacity to care about your shit. And that's the honest truth. Within that, I find some sort of solace because I'm not saying that, you know, people are inherently evil. I mean, some of us have those traits. I would like to believe that some of us have people's best interest in mind, but the reality is there are just so many things that are happening in life every day to so many people. It truthfully is hard for them to not only try to care about your emotional load, but also take care of their emotional load as well. So with that, you have to give these people grace. And although I don't talk to my former friends anymore, I do give them grace in that respect, because how can you expect anyone to be on top of what you're going through emotionally without themselves taking care of what they're going through? So I think in this case, it's best for us to assume that no one cares, and that gives us the freedom to go ahead and now take on that mental load. Because here's the reality, and I've looked up the statistics. Based off of some of the statistics or the data, what it shows is that people who lose their siblings are twice as likely to commit suicide. They're twice as likely to develop mental conditions, whatever the case may be, such and so forth. And throughout all of that, I'm not the exception, of course, but throughout all of that, I had a decision to make. Obviously I could crumble, right, and fall apart, or I can decide this is my emotional burden. I have to take this on, and I have to integrate this. This now has to be a part of me. And that's the reality. I mean, listen, it's been 13 years since I've seen my brother. The only memory, I have a lot of memories with him, but one of the biggest memories that I have is, just the night before he passed. I ate one of his sandwiches. You've probably seen some of my other videos, so you might have heard the story. But if you haven't, then here it is. But yeah, I ate one of his sandwiches the night before. We had some beef. He was upset about it, but we spoke on it, gave him a hug. I told him I loved him, and that was the last time I ever seen him ever again. And that's heartbreaking, which leads me to my second point, which is the idea that you have a lot of time is an illusion. Seriously, you might think you could take a day off or slack, but considering you can't control your mortality, not only are you slacking on your goals, the very act of being lazy and procrastinating is inherently arrogant. How do you know when you're gonna die? I was watching this thing with, not Cat Williams. Oh yeah, with Cat Williams, excuse me. When he was talking to Shay, I forgot his actual name, Shannon Sharp. I don't know why his name escaped me for that second, but anyway, he was talking to Shannon Sharp, and he mentioned something that I think was so important, and it really, really resonated with me, and I wanted to share it with y'all. He says, if you were to sit on your bed every night and have this conversation, following words with yourself, guaranteed you will start moving a lot differently in life. And the conversation to ask yourself is, well, you sit on the bed, you think to yourself, this could be the night that I die. And truthfully speaking, it's a very valid statement. It's a very valid thought, because we can't control our mortality. We can't control our heartbeat, at least not consciously anyway. So if you sit there and ask yourself, this could be it. Am I okay with what I did today? Did I really try my hardest today? I guarantee you'll start moving a little bit different. And what that means for me, especially when my brother passed away, was that, okay, I know that things are finite in this world. At least that's what I realized when I was 17. But I think in my case, I was struggling with the fear of trying to do the things that I wanted to do, or the passions for the things that I wanted to do. And for me, that kind of stifled my growth. And, ironically enough, I didn't get that feeling again in 2019 when my brother Jerry passed away, because after my brother DJ passed away, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of adapted to it, right? Like, okay, well, he's gone, here's me back to my regular life. And, I was just doing my thing, just living a normal person life, which isn't a big deal, but obviously the dreams and aspirations that I was trying to work on, I put them off consistently, time and time again, because I was lazy. And then 2019, when I was training one of my clients, I got a call from my brother's ex, and she let me know that he was in a fatal car accident. And that kind of reshifted my focus, and it kind of changed my perspective on things again. So, gentlemen, ladies, if you're watching, regardless of whoever's watching, this is about mankind, right? We don't have that much time. We really don't have that much time. Like, if you are in your 30s like me, congratulations, you're middle-aged, especially if you consider that the average lifespan in America is around 70 to 76 or even 80 years old. So we're kind of like halfway there, fam. It's time to start making this shit count. Which leads me to my third point. You'll hear from or be visited by family you barely ever see, and barely have ever seen. I remember when my brother DJ died, I heard from family that I never even seen before. And you know what really breaks my heart? The reasons why we never communicated, like me and my cousins and everyone else. Side note, if you're watching this, what's up? But the reason why we never communicated wasn't through the fault of ours, but by our parents, by proxy. So when my brother DJ passed away, I was being reintroduced to people I haven't spoken to in damn near 2 decades, which to me, I think is kind of valueless. Like, as much as I appreciate family, and cousins, I know you might be watching this. If you're not, it is what it is. But anyway, as much as I appreciate family, I also am not the type of person to just automatically welcome people back into my life after they've been gone for years. Here's the most fucked up part, and this is not me trying to paint my cousins in any negative manner whatsoever, but I remember my cousin came to my apartment after my brother Jerry passed away, and me and him were hanging out, and he was talking, and he said something to me that really triggered me in a sense, because when I was younger, I was the type of person who loved family. Like, I was very family oriented. I was always around. But then, you know, obviously things changed. But what he said really got under my skin. He was like, you know the reason why I stopped talking to you for so long? And I was like, why? I stopped talking to you because my mom gave you my Nintendo 64. And I was like, not only was I stunned, I asked him, like, okay, did she give it away and that was like your only console? He was like, no, I got an Xbox, but she gave you my Nintendo 64 and I really, really liked it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wait, you mean to tell me you put a Nintendo 64 over communicating with your cousin? And I never spoke to him again after that. Why do I need to? If you find a Nintendo 64 more valuable than the connections you have with your family, then my friend, go. You're useless to me. And I don't mean that in the sense of utility, but I can't consider that family. That doesn't make sense to me, which is why I believe in the quote, blood or family is not always blood, or whatever the fuck. I forgot the quote. I'll put it down here. But anyway, you know, you're gonna hear from some people that you have never seen before, never heard from. And what's worse is that these people, at least this is what it was like in my family, these people come and try to take the dead person's property. I mean, I've got a lot of stories for stuff like that. I think the worst one was one of my cousins coming from Haiti. Never seen him before a day in my life, but he came to the funeral. Somehow he knew where we lived and everything, and then started asking for my brother's stuff. How greedy and ignorant can you be? Like, can you read the room? But this isn't about me. This is about the lessons that I learned. So we're gonna keep it moving. So number 4, life is short. And it sounds like the third one, but I just want to illustrate that again. Like, life is very, very short. I remember the first death I ever felt impacted by was this girl that went to my grade school. And it's crazy that I remember her name, Paola Gill. Rest in peace, Paola Gill. I remember the first time when a death really, really moved me in a sense, but I was too young to kind of acknowledge it. But I was 6 years old. I was 6 years old in grade school. And we had this meeting in the auditorium talking about this. Guys, rest in peace, Paola Gill. She passed away choking on water. Fam, your life is a vapor, bruh. It's a fucking vapor. Like, as resilient as we are, as strong as our bodies could be, as mentally capable and whatever other compliment you want to attach to it, as great as we are as individuals, there isn't really much stopping us from transitioning to the other dimension, if you know what I'm saying. You know, and I feel like we need to keep that in mind. And maybe that's because I've had a lot of death in my life. I mean, death comes for us all, right? So I'm not alone. It's not exclusive to me, right? But at the same time, though, it would stand to reason that this should motivate you to work a little bit harder. And I know what some people out there might be saying, oh, what about enjoying yourself? What about enjoying life? Yes, hedonism is okay to an extent, but can we really think about what matters at the end of the day? At least in my opinion, I think what matters is building a community, inspiring others, and leaving a contribution for the world. Whether that be children that are actually productive in society, or whether you build something which in turn then helps other people, that's what I think ultimately matters. And who cares for hedonistic shit if that's your focus? You know, obviously, again, it's okay to enjoy things. Go out and enjoy yourself. But ladies and gentlemen and ladies, understand this. The time you think you have is so finite. In fact, at the time of this recording, I could literally finish recording this, go travel back to my apartment, and get killed on the way there. I mean, or like get hit by a car, whatever the case may be, right? All of these things are plenty possible. I can't control any of that. I can only control my actions. And I know that this day, Saturday, May 4th, I decided to wake up, head to the beach, record some content, and come out here and give you some words of encouragement in hopes that it will start getting the chains moving in your life. Because we all have the ability and capability to do that. We don't have to live the life that was either predestined or predetermined by us, or for us rather, by our parents. we don't have to live that life. We don't have to live the life society says we have to live either. Now listen, society is going to tell you to do a lot of shit. And it's going to try to influence you in ways that you have never even thought before. But really, what I think the true meaning and definition of a good life lived is someone who decided, I'm going to put my feet in the sand, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and whatever happens, I'm going to stick with it, I'm going to grow with it, and this is what I'm going to give to the world. We can do that. We have the capabilities to do so. And this brings me to my fifth and final point. Live life on your terms. And this is the most important part, because as a coach, I've been a personal trainer for about 13 years now. I've written a book on weight loss. I've trained over 1,000 people. I've been certified for a very long fucking time. However, throughout all of the conversations that I have with people, I always find that people are living some version of their life that someone else proctored for them. Like someone curated this and it's like, all right, you're gonna do this now. And everything that that person wanted to do that was a true, innate, intrinsic desire eventually died off because they figured, I can't do that because I see so many other people living the same exact life that was orchestrated or, you know, schematically set up for me. And the reality of it is that although it is hard for you to accomplish the things that you really want in this world, that's what makes it worth it. And that's why you should do it. Like again, life is short. Why wouldn't you want to live life on your own terms? When I think about when I used to work in tech, for me, one of the biggest things was I wanted to be able to have my own online business and become my own boss, you know what I mean? And when I worked in tech, I couldn't help but think, damn, here I am helping this company make more money. This company, I'm helping this person, which isn't a bad thing, but what if I took a chance on myself? What if I actually bet on me? What would happen if I actually said, you know what, I'm gonna try and make this work no matter what? Like, that doesn't mean I'm gonna quit my job. That doesn't mean I'm gonna, you know, all of a sudden quit my job and then all of a sudden do a different business. But the question I had to ask for myself was, am I truly satisfied knowing that I'm helping build someone else's business when I know if I were to learn, you know, go to school of hard knocks, as they say, learn how to build the business and actually try, what is the worst that can happen? Fellas, this is the reality of it. Like, yo, I'm pretty sure somewhere down the line, your father or great-great-grandfather or whatever the case may be, I'm sure they had their own business, right? I'm sure they had their own thing. They were making their own money. In other words, they weren't a slave to the system or, you know, whatever system that they were operating under at that time. Gentlemen, I think it's important for us to understand that not only do we have the capabilities to pull ourselves by our bootstraps, I know some people get upset when people say that, but we can actually build the lives and businesses that we want. Now, is it easy? No, and it's not supposed to be easy. But I'm just saying you can live life on your terms. Now listen, if you wanna spend the rest of your life fucking playing video games and, you know, doing loser shit, man, have at it. At the end of the day, it is your life. But there is so much life to explore, so many things to see. I'm not gonna lie, so many things to buy. Yes, I wanna buy shit. I like material stuff. And just so many things to do. Why not experience life for what it could be? For what it could be if you were the type of person who made shit happen in your life time and time again. So I don't know, those are the 5 lessons that I've learned with my brother's passing. And all in all, I think the most important thing to take from this is, listen, life is gonna beat the fuck out of you, man. Life is gonna beat you up. It's gonna hit you. It's gonna hit you. But you're stronger, you know? You'll always be able to bounce back from what you go through, so long as you're willing to bounce back. It's one thing to get hit and not get up, but it's a whole other story to get hit, get up, and succeed. You know, be yourself. Be willing to take a chance on you, the skills that you have, the things you could bring to this world. Be willing to be that guy, you know? I remember when I first started this YouTube channel, I had so many people talking shit about me. You know, my old group of friends talking shit, you know, for my my modeling stuff. They would like share my stories in the group chat and roast me. You know what they were doing? Or you know what they do now? Nothing. They're in the same spot that I left them in. And that's just the reality of life. You can become the best version of yourself, but you have to want it. You have to push yourself. And in that journey, you'll find that truthfully, you're a lot stronger than you ever once thought. Sorry, I didn't mean to fuck that quote up. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the message. I hope you learned a couple things from it. A quip for myself. Rest in peace, DJ Jean. And Jerry, I miss y'all a lot. You know, I got y'all photos on my wall in my living room, and you know, I can't help but see it every time I walk in. So I miss y'all. I hope if there is an afterlife or some weird ether, I don't know, maybe I'll hear this message. I will see y'all, you know, hopefully not soon. Hopefully it'll be a long time from then. But in the meantime, I'm gonna live life on my terms. I'm gonna keep rocking, and we're gonna keep making progress. Gentlemen, I hope you do the same. Listen, don't go anywhere just yet. Check out one of these other videos that I got. The fitness app, Fitar Fitness, download it. Go onto the website, www.fitarfitness.com. Download the app, try it for 6 days. It's a free trial. Listen, if you find value, then subscribe. It's $29.99 a month. If you want personal training, feel free to DM me. Could always get you set up with that. Check out the other links that I have in the bio as well. And remember, gentlemen, you're stronger than you know. And you're stronger than you're willing to admit. But you have to be willing to put that strength to the test. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.